What it do, citizens of P-Town? You know what this is. This is none other than my most anticipated films of 2024. Really, no other way to explain it than that. These are just the films that I personally am looking forward to the most. I have kind of a list of a handful, not really a ranked list in terms of anticipation, but we're going to start off with 10 films that I am very likely to see in a theater, alongside a handful of others that maybe I'm keeping my eye on. As you know, this is just my opinion. We all have different tastes. We're all looking forward to different films, and there's going to be some surprises. There's also going to be some date changes too. Maybe with the strikes, delays are inevitable. They happen all the time, anyways. Some movies just might come out of nowhere, and cross my radar or gain a lot of word of mouth and see those anyways. But as it stands in mid-January, these are the films that I definitely want to talk about and highlight. So starting off, this is kind of like I said, not a list in order of anticipation, but it's a general timeline of release date. Starting off soon, by the end of February, so yeah, next month will be Driveway Dolls. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I am a huge fan of the Coens. This is a solo effort from Ethan Cohen. This is his first narrative feature film. He has done one documentary before, but this is his first narrative feature film. And you know what? I miss the Coens, man. I miss them a lot. I am looking forward to when they get back together eventually, hopefully. But as it stands right now, I'm going to take any Coens that I can get, and I'm just very excited to see um, Ethan in his first narrative feature film. What else can I say? I mean, this year specifically is not really a year where, at least that I know of, that directors that I'm a fan of are releasing. I mean, 2023 was awesome. I mean, Miyazaki, Nolan, Scorsese, just to name three. 2024, as it stands right now, is not looking to be much director oriented as far as movies I'm going to see. So Driveway Dolls specifically is going to be one of them. As a huge fan of the Coens, I want to see what Ethan alone brings to the table as a director. So yeah, looking forward to that. Definitely gonna catch that in the theater. Next up, I mean, I did say that there wasn't going to be much directors to look forward to this year in 2024. At least some of my personal favorites. Next up, we do have a personal favorite. That's Dune Part Two. I'm a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve. I really enjoyed the first Dune, at least Denis' not interpretation, his spin on it. And of course, I'm a fan of so many of his other movies. This guy has yet to miss in my eyes. And of course, you know, it doesn't really need much explaining that I'm anticipating the finale to the story. We're gonna finally adapt the rest of the book of the novel and complete the story. That let's be real here. The first Dune movie, Dune Part One, not the full story. Not really a complete story, and so looking forward to the conclusion of it. I have read the book too, so I'm also very interested to see how Denis approaches the time skip and how he paces the events throughout the movie and how he introduces certain characters that have certain levels of screen time. So I'm very curious to see what he does with Florence Pugh and Austin Butler, as well as conclude the story. So looking forward to it. It was a given with the fact that I'm a fan of the first movie, as well as just a huge fan of Denis Villeneuve. Dune Part 2 coming in March. Next up is Kung Fu Panda 4. Here's the thing. Some people are probably like, who asked for this sequel? Kung Fu Panda 3 felt like so long ago. And here's the thing. Maybe a lot of people haven't asked for it, but I'm seeing a lot of hype for this coming around. I think that since Kung Fu Panda 3 and then the many years since the first one released, Kung Fu Panda has resonated with a lot of fans, and a lot of people are hyped for this movie. And you know what? I like that. Let's just go to a theater and let's just have some fun, okay? I don't need to hold this film to any high expectations, but it's Kung Fu Panda. The first one is great. Didn't need to tell you that. Second one was decent. Third one was actually really good, to be honest. And fourth one, why not? Let's just have some fun at the theaters. Let's bring the boys all grown up to Kung Fu Panda 4. Yeah, definitely gonna look forward to this. Once again, we're just gonna have some fun. Next up is The Fall Guy. The Fall Guy may not be a movie for everybody. I think that depending on the trailer, and doesn't seem like the most unique thing in the world. For me, I'm a fan of David Leitch. I think that as far as action comedy goes, I think he's very consistent with Deadpool 2, which I love, Bullet Train, which is really enjoyable, among my favorite movies of 2022. I believe that's what it came out. And oh man, I'm forgetting another one. I said Hobbs and Shaw. I fucking love Hobbs and Shaw. I think that David Leitch is a very safe director when it comes to action comedy. And by safe, I mean that you're gonna go to a theater, you're gonna watch his film in a theater, and you're gonna have a good time. And I think just And it's Ryan Gosling, one of my all-time favorite actors in a David Leitch movie. I mean, this film is just meant for me. I think it's just meant for me. I am a part of the audience that this film is made for. So, you know, I'm gonna see this one. I'm gonna see this one. I am not gonna make any claims that this is gonna be the best action film of 2024, but I'm ready for a good time, and I'm sure David Leitch is gonna deliver. So next up, after many many years, we are getting a sequel to one of the best action films of the 21st century, and it is Furiosa. This is definitely one of the bigger films I'm anticipating, or at least some of the most excitement. I don't need to tell you how great Mad Max Fury Road is, or at the very least, I don't need to tell you how much people love it. And so, yeah, I'm just looking forward to a prequel. Really, not much else to say. I think I'm just very excited. George Miller still is going to have a big budget when going into this film. I was worried because despite how great Mad Max was, or I guess how great Fury Road was, it did underperform at the box office. So I was a little concerned that the eventual sequel, in this case the prequel sequel, wouldn't get as high as a budget. They're going to scale it back because of the underperforming of Fury Road. But it looks like George was spending just as much on this film, if not more. And so that, in some ways, gives me assurance like, okay, the studio's still going to let George Miller do what he wants. He's still going to go crazy and just absolutely bonkers if he wants to. On another hand, we saw a lot of films flop in 2023, attributed a decent amount to very high budgets and films just being more expensive than normal now on average. Plenty of $200 million movies, which used to just not happen often, with only I think one $200 million film profiting last year, and that was Guardians of the Galaxy, and that was a 800 something million dollar gross. But regardless, enough about money. Point is, I'm glad that I believe that George Miller's still going to have free run on this, and that's just what you want from a follow up to Fury Road. So very excited for this one. And you know what? I know I said earlier that I wasn't really anticipating much as far as directors go. So far, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. So yes, Furiosa, definitely gonna enjoy it. Probably eat a lot of popcorn, have a good time. So the next film on this list is one that I'm extremely excited about, and yet my excitement is also dimmed down or restricted because of my expectations. Let me talk about it. Is Deadpool 3. So if you're a fan of the Deadpool movies and you've been following the release of Deadpool 3, you probably have, if you have certain worries and concerns about this film, then you probably share those same concerns with myself. I mean, for one, it's the first R-rated movie in the MCU, or I guess Disney under Disney. Disney says that Deadpool 3 is going to be R-rated, and they're gonna, not restrict them, which is great, but still gives me a little bit apprehension. This was filmed at least for a little bit during the strikes, and the strikes is going to affect film, this year with delays and writing. And yet at the same time, there's a lot of writers directed to attach to this film, and the common trend when films have a lot of writers to them, it usually results in a mess because maybe it has a lot of rewrites and reshoots and such. Um, Sean Levy, okay. I don't want to put any hate, but here's the thing: Sean Levy's directing this movie, longtime collaborator and frequent collaborator of Ryan Reynolds. The thing is, Sean Levy has never really been a director for me of that many heights or peaks. I think films like Night at the Museum I'm very nostalgic for, and Real Steel has resonated with a lot of audiences. But pretty much, I don't think Sean Levy is a director that makes great movies. I think he makes funny, entertaining movies that are passable, but like I said, outside of Night at the Museum and Real Steel, for some people, uh, he just doesn't really make great films, in my opinion. Free Guy was okay. The Adam Project was okay. You know, and so that's why I'm worried. When I love the first two movies, I love them. Say what you want about Deadpool 2. In my opinion, I love it. I love it. So I don't want to hold it to very high expectations, but I just can't help to have those with all the factors kind of going into the production of this movie, as well as just having the first two to compare. And of course, the elephant in the room, Hugh Jackman is coming back, and with Logan being my favorite superhero film of all time, and seeing that as a perfect send off, I would have high expectations of a Deadpool movie that brings back Hugh Jackman as the character. Hopefully, there was something very interesting that they wanted to try or attempt with the Wolverine in this film. It might have been just the Disney check for Hugh Jackman, but regardless, I would. Yeah, my expectations are pretty high. I'm kind of on bar hope right now, but I'm looking forward to it, and I'm gonna try to not have the high expectations. But out of a lot of the films on this list, I could see myself being the hardest on Deadpool 3. But nonetheless, I am looking forward to it. It had to. I had to be. You know what I mean? I have to watch this. I'm going to. All right, next up is one that I haven't really heard much talk about, and that gives a little bit concern about whether or not this film's going to come out this year. But regardless, slated for a 2024 release is Transformers 1. So, said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm a huge Transformers fan. An unpopular opinion of mine was having Transformers Rise of the Beast be in my top 10 films of 2023. And look, this Transformers is just for me. I love the franchise. And so Transformers 1, for those who don't know, is actually going to be an animated Transformers film. It's going to be animated and is going to depict Cybertron. It's going to depict the war on Cybertron. And for fans of this franchise, they know that some of the best content to come out of Transformers is from Cybertron. A lot of people love that first scene in Bumblebee showing just a glimpse of the war in Cybertron. It was maybe about a few minutes, and some people thought that was the best part of Bumblebee. And so I'm very curious and honestly excited about what they're going to cover with games like Fall of Cybertron and War of Cybertron being some of my favorite games ever, and that just depicted the war and just the Autobots and the Decepticons at odds with each other and how they're seemingly never ending conflict for years, for millennia even, and how that just sucked away at Cybertron, how it literally brought upon the death of an entire planet. And once again, I don't know what exactly they're going to cover or how much, but I think if it's on Cybertron, it's going to be a nice change of pace for the live action movies. It's a change of pace from live action movies in general, with it being animated movie, but we can now start to move past the human characters and just get to the robots blasting each other. So looking forward to Transformers 1. I'm going to look forward to any film Transformers probably, and most Transformers content at all. So yes, I had to give this one a nod. And if you know me, there you go. Next up is Joker Folie à Deux. No really anticipation or build up. Look, Joker I thought was good. I thought it was just good. I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's a great one. I really enjoyed the production value. It was something different. It was something new, at least in the comic book movie space. Joaquin Phoenix was great in the movie. I mean, yeah, the sky's blue. But it's not one of my favorites. And with that said, I just can't help but be interested because with Joker ended up being such a huge movie, and all the discourse that went on with it, and how they're justifying the sequel. Arguably Joker didn't need a sequel. And now that there is a sequel that I personally didn't ask for, it's like it's going to be a musical. And so I'm like, okay, all right, it's a risk. Who knows if it's going to land? But hey, if you're going to justify a sequel that you wouldn't necessarily want, why not watch a film that takes a risk? And so I'm going to commend Todd Phillips for this approach. I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens. Todd Phillips isn't the best when it comes to sequels, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. We'll say that. And yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna get in on this. So yeah, Joker Folie à Deux. Now, last but not least is arguably my most anticipated film of 2024, and that is Nosferatu by none other than Robert Eggers. When it comes to horror, probably said this before, I'm not really a big horror guy. It involves specific movies and just media in general, or horror media, or specific pieces of media that I'm a fan of when it comes to horror. Now, if there's a director that has nothing but good horror films that I enjoy, Robert Eggers is the only person that comes to mind. For a lot of people, that's Jordan Peele or Ari Aster, and they are very talented and respectful. I respect them as directors. But as far as me, the directors that I am anticipating every time they drop a film, it is Robert Eggers. So, I mean, come on. The Lighthouse was amazing. The Witch was really good. The Northman was awesome. I mean, I'm excited. I am so ready for Nosferatu. It is slated to be a December release, which is a long time from now. But regardless, I am so ready. Uh, Robert Eggers, man, I love him. He has not missed yet. Willem Dafoe is back too. I mean, come on. This is just my type of movie. From a creator that I like specifically. I'm just so excited that there's a horror director that I really like as someone who likes only specific horror movies. So heavily looking forward to this. This has been his passion project too for a long time. He had to do the Northman and the Lighthouse before getting around to Nosferatu. This is his passion project. He loves the story, and I'm so excited to see his spin on it. Yeah, it just goes without saying for Nosferatu in my case. Okay, so that probably covers it for the most anticipated films. Now we're going to go into other films that I kind of have my eye on that I may or may not be likely to see, but wouldn't be surprised if I went to the theater for these films. Starting off with a film that was supposed to be confirmed for 2024, but was delayed. And that is Mickey 17. I'm sorry to reuse this image. I know that everybody is tired of this one image, the only thing that we have from this film. But we don't got a choice. Mickey 17. I mean, what's there to say? Bong Joon-ho with Robert Pattinson and I believe Steven Yeun. Like, following up to Parasite, one of the best films of this century, one of the best South Korean films, potentially one of the best films of all time. Who isn't looking forward to this movie? I don't think anybody who didn't love Parasite who's not looking forward to this film and just so ready. This is my anticipation is very high. I don't want to have too high anticipate. I don't want to have set too high standards, but you know, come on, like who's not looking forward to this film? It's delayed, so no confirmed release date. Maybe we'll get it by the end of 2044. But because there's no release date, I'm gonna just have this off to the side right now. It's gonna be in the back of my mind. Definitely, if this comes out this year, I'm there. Next up is Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire. I mean, this image of Godzilla and King Kong like running side by side is fucking insane. I think we need that. I think we kind of need that for film right now. The film industry last year took a big hit. A lot of IPs, a lot of ongoing IPs did take a fall and bomb, but I think we just need some. We need some wackiness. We need some wildness. People are going to be going to the film for Nosferatu, which is probably going to be a kind of artsy period piece, something that's a little slow and something different, not conventional. We need something to fill people's laps with buckets of popcorn and cup holders full of soda. This might be that movie. You know what I mean? So I'll probably check it out. Next up is A Quiet Place Day One. I did not think that there needed to be a sequel for A Quiet Place. In A Quiet Place 2, I thought the first one ended perfectly. I was totally fine with never, having a sequel. But if there was a sequel that I would have seen, it would have been on day one. And if you've seen A Quiet Place, you understand the premise of and the monsters. We got A Quiet Place Part 2 first, but now we're getting A Quiet Place Day One. This has been in development since the first movie was released. And yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm very curious to see something different. Hopefully, Quiet Place 2 was kind of a rehash of A Quiet Place Part 1, or Quiet Place 1. And so hopefully in a setting which, day one, in which, the people before they just get wiped out and they don't know what these monsters are, how they work. I'm very curious to see that approach. And yeah, I'll probably watch this. My anticipation isn't that high, but I'll probably check this out because, when it comes to horror, don't really get much that I'm really interested in. So I'm going to try to latch on to what I can and try to have something to look forward to if it is horror. Actually, no, speaking of horror, we got some other ones. Alien and Romulus. I have not really seen much of the Alien films outside of Alien and Aliens. I think I saw Prometheus once. Didn't see Alien 3 or anything in between them. Covenant didn't see either. But for whatever reason, I'm feeling like this could be a good one. This is supposed to be Alien back to its contained roots. Um, I'm going into a lot of these films cold because I don't think that's how everybody should do that for every film, but it is a common approach I have, and that includes for this one. But I think lately I've been feeling kind of an Alien renaissance. I rewatched both Alien and Aliens earlier last year, and I'm just like, wow, I can't really find much horror that I enjoy in the 20th century that I really like, and these are the movies um, that I miss. And hopefully, this might be a return to form for the franchise. I might check it out, might not, and there you have it. And then last but not least, Gladiator 2, also a sequel that I never really wanted, but Gladiator is kind of not kind of, it's aged very very well, to be real. And once again, while I'm not really itching for IPs, established IPs to get sequels, but you know what? Fuck it. That's all I gotta say. Fuck it. I mean, Denzel Washington working with Ridley Scott. I think that's a win. I don't know about you. I think you'll agree with me that that's a win. And Paul Mescal is a great actor too, and I'm very curious to see what he brings to Gladiator 2. I think without even seeing much from Paul Mescal, I anticipate something pretty good. So Gladiator 2, go check that out. And so there you have it. Those are the films that I'm personally looking forward to most this year. Let me know down in the comments below the films that you're excited for. What are you marking off the days until the release? Any high hopes, any high expectations? Yeah, so go ahead and let me know. Let's have a discussion down in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Let's hope for another great year of films. And thank you for all the support, and I'll catch y'all later.